we live in a world, we live in a society where we complain every single day about our lives. We say that the wealth of America is lucky, right? The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, right? Silver spoon, right? We victimize ourselves into saying they got it good, we got it bad. They don't know what it's like to live like us. But here's the reality. We don't do more things with our money similar to what they do. We don't. Middle Americans do not. If middle Americans understood the power of paying themselves first in a tax favorable environment, their financial situation would change. And that's the problem nowadays. And that's what we combat. That's what we fight, guys. That's what we fight. We fight people having the urge to spend money versus invest money. We fight people fighting the urge to get an immediate return versus understanding that the best return is a later return. The new iPhone comes out and people are ready to drop 1,200 bucks on the brand new iPhone, but they won't drop 1,200 bucks on Apple stock. Why? Because 1,200 bucks into Apple stock gives them nothing more than a digital certificate that they own a piece of the company. And it won't give them a return of value till later on in life. But a $1,200 iPhone in their hand right now lets them FaceTime with a bigger screen. That's the reality. That's the reality. A 401k gives the employee that feel-good feeling that every single paycheck they're getting a dollar, so they can log in and they can see, oh my God, I got a dollar from the employee, I got a dollar from the employee, not realizing that they're going to pay a crap ton later on the back end, but they're getting immediate gratification right now. That's what they're getting. Yet, the wealth of America puts their money in tax-free environments where they don't see the benefit right now. They don't get the tax write-off their money. They have to pay taxes on it now. They don't get a dollar for dollar match. They got to grow that money on their own in the future, but in the future, it's tax-free. So while everybody in middle America is excited, oh my God, I'm getting a dollar for dollar match now, immediate gratification right now. When they need the money later on, they're like, oh crap, wait, taxes. Can I control taxes? No. Ask yourself, can you control where Uncle Sam puts taxes? No. So watch this. And I don't need anybody to unmute themselves, but if you're on camera, I'm going to ask you to nod your head yes or nod your head no after I ask this question. If you're not on camera, go ahead and get yourself on camera because I'm curious to see what you would say as well about this. Let's just say that I go into, I'm a silent investor. I'm a silent investor, okay? And you propose to me a business that you're better at than me. You're better at it. You're the expert in that business. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. We're going to go into it together. I'm a silent partner. My name doesn't need to be anywhere in the business. I take 30%. You take 70% because I'm going to front you the money up front. I'm going to give you the benefit of the money up front now, right? You need that benefit now to get your business up and going. So you accept it. You're like, okay, I take 70, he takes 30. You're still 100% responsible and in charge of the business. I want nothing to do with it. I won't look at your financial statements. I won't have quarterly reviews, nothing. I just give you the money, you give me my 30%. Sounds pretty good. Then you bust your tail and you turn this business from a little itty bitty garage ran business into a freaking multi-million-dollar operation. And it takes you 20 years to get there, 30 years to get to that level. And you're thinking, man, I turned nothing into something huge. Now, throughout the 20, 30 years, what you don't know is that behind the scenes, I made some bad choices in my personal life. Some bad financial choices that cost me money. I mean, big time. 20, 30 years down the line, I'm looking at your multi-million-dollar business and I say to you this, I say, listen, in the fine print, when we first got into business, it states that if I wanted to change that 70-30 and flip it, where I now get 70% and you get 30%, I can make that decision and you can't stop me. So here's my question. Would you go into business with me? No, you wouldn't go. I mean, I'm giving you an opportunity to build a multi-million-dollar business. I'm giving you the benefit of the money up front. I'm a silent partner. I'm giving you the money up front. I don't want to touch your business. You're it. And from now till then, you keep 70%. You want to go into business with me? No? Raise your hands if you ever had a 401k. When you sign on the dotted line of your 401k, that's the contract that you signed. In this scenario, I am the 401k. I'm the government. I'm the government. And when you sign up for 401k, that's the agreement you signed up for. Simple. Simple. You take 70% of the business, I take 30%. Why do I use 70-30? Because right now, that's kind of where taxes are. That's kind of where taxes are right now. Right? You're in charge. I don't want nothing to do with it. You get the tax benefit right now. Fine. Right? But if me, the government, if I make some bad choices, with the government money, and I gotta increase taxes later on to make up for those bad choices, you can't stop me. I can shift it from 70-30 favoring you to 70-30 favoring me. You can't stop me. That's what a 401k is. That's exactly what it is. Now ask yourself this: how many times has the government made great choices for us? Think about it. I'm not knocking, and I'm not even going political here. I'm not saying, oh my God, the Democrats, the Republicans. I'm not doing any of that. I'm saying that the government seldom, regardless of political affiliation, does something that dramatically changes for the benefit of anybody in the United States. It's just the realities. It's just the realities. It's why the wealth don't rely on Social Security as their form of retirement. It's why the wealth don't put money into pre-taxed environments. They take control and they take matters into their own hands. They say, hey, listen, I'm going to pay the taxes now. I'm going to invest the money now. I'm going to control that now because I don't want to have to worry about you, Uncle Sam, later on. If you decide to increase taxes, my money's tax-free. There it is. I'm worried about the legacy of my life, the legacy of my family, not the immediate gratification, not that little fancy bow you're putting in front of me now about, not having to pay taxes now when I got to pay taxes later. I mean, think about it like a farmer. If you're a farmer, you're sitting on 5 acres of land, you got a bag of seeds in one hand, right? Or 3 trucks behind you of different fruits and vegetable plants. Which one do you think costs more money? The bag of seeds in your hand or the 3 trucks behind you filled with vegetables and fruits and trees and all sorts? Which one costs more? The trucks, right? That's seed, harvest. Seed, harvest. Bag of seeds, harvest. If I got to pay taxes on either of those, I'd rather pay taxes on the seed. The seed is your paycheck money. The seed is your money. The seed is you putting contributions into your investment. The harvest is what that investment turns into. And if I got to pay taxes, I'd rather pay taxes on the seed, not the harvest. And I damn sure don't want to have to pay taxes on the harvest with the government controlling how much he taxes me on it. Because it'd be one thing if he said, listen, I'm going to tax you no matter what, I'm going to tax you 15%. Okay, good. I'm not even going to lie. I could do that. You're going to give me a dollar for dollar match up front, but then only tax me 15% on the back end. I'm in. The government will never create that. Never in life will we create that. Ever. That's the difference between these types of environments. Wealth of America puts their money in tax-free environments. So you might say, well, does that mean they put money into a Roth IRA? No. You know why? Because the Roth IRA has income limits. If you make too much money, you can't put money into a Roth IRA. And for those of you who don't know, a Roth IRA was created in 1994 by Senator Roth. And basically, it's the opposite tax rules to a traditional IRA or a 401k. So the money going into a Roth IRA is already taxed. And all the earnings are tax-free. But Uncle Sam said, wait, hold up, wait. This here is very, very risky for them, for the government. They said, if the wealth of America starts funneling in money into here, man, we're going to be in trouble. So they limited it. If you make too much money, you cannot put money into a Roth IRA. And if you do make enough money, you're limited to how much you can put in. It started off at like $3,000 a year. Now it's up to like $6,500 a year. And so the wealth don't even participate in that world. You know what the wealth do love to participate in? Tax-free retirements. Leveraging permanent cash value insurance policies, AKA the IULs. The IULs that we saw, the Ferrari of the presentation. Those are tax-free environments. That's what it is. They love leveraging it. If you look at General Electric, and I'll show it to you. If you guys will remind me before I finish off here, show it to you. I'll show you their benefits package, which is public. You can look it up online. You can download the PDF of their benefits package for their employees. They got 5 board members that make 7-figure salaries, 5 board members. And every one of them are putting in $80,000 to $300,000 a year into their tax-free retirement insurance policies, the IULs. But they're only putting in $9,000 a year into their required 401k. Why is that? Why are they all putting the minimum required into a 401k, but yet $80,000 to $300,000 into a tax-free retirement strategy? They love to go there. Second place that the wealth of America loves to go to is real estate. Real estate. You know why? It's not because of short-term gains. The wealth of America are long-term thinkers. They start putting money away for their last name at 2 weeks of age, just so you know. They start early. They understand compounding interest and what it can do. They understand how it works. They understand that they can 5 times, 6 times, 10x their money if they start long term. But the second place they love to go to is real estate for 2 reasons. One, collateral. There's a collateral asset. So they know there's always going to be a value of some sort. But number 2, does anybody know how you pay taxes on proceeds from real estate? Does anybody know what that is? What that's called? It's called capital gains tax. You see, we pay earned income tax on our payroll money. Our employees' 401ks, when they pay taxes on it, they pay earned income tax, which is the highest of taxes. And that's the one that's constantly fluctuating. Whereas capital gains tax has always kind of steadily stayed in that 10 to 12% bracket, 10 to 12. If I got to pay taxes on my money, I'd rather be in that 10 to 12 versus that 30, 40, 50, and 60. And here's another reality. You could take real estate proceeds, flip it into more real estate proceeds, not pay taxes on it. That's called a 1031 exchange. And then you can rent out that piece of real estate and generate what? Cash flow. So ask yourself this question throughout all stages of your life, throughout any catastrophe. Let me ask you this question. If someone said to you, you got to get rid of one of them today, you either got to get rid of your income that you got coming into the house every month, or you got to get rid of your investments. Which one would you get rid of first? Irvin, which one would you get rid of first?
The income.
You get rid of the income instead of the investment?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Why is that?
Because the investment is going to pay off in the long run.
No, let me re-ask it then. If you had to decide today, 2021, Saturday, April 24th, you got to get rid of one. We either continue to pay you your income, right? And you give us your investments, or you keep your investments, but we take away your income. Which one would you pick? Right?
That's the income.
So here's why I say this. Income is the most important thing to everybody throughout all stages of their life. Even the wealth. The reason the wealth want to have $2, $3, $4, $5 million put away in savings is because the $2, $3, $4, $5 million is going to provide them with $20,000, $30,000 a month of income. The income is what matters. The paycheck. Your biggest asset is your ability to earn a living. My biggest asset, apart from all my investments, is my business because it provides a living for me. My income. People get life insurance because they want to replace their income if something happens and they die. People get disability insurance because they need to replace their income if they're too disabled and not able to work. People get long-term care insurance because they need to make sure that the added cost of the nurse doesn't affect their fixed income that they have coming into their house. Your income is your biggest asset. Everything about life is an income conversation. In finances, it's always an income conversation. And I turn everything I possibly can into an income conversation. So when I meet with people, where am I getting at with all of this? Here's what I'm getting at. When I meet with people, and they're like, well, I've got, $150,000 put away in my 401k, and I want to retire in the next 2 years. My conversation with them is always an income conversation. And I say to them this, I go, listen, I think you and I can both agree that $150,000 as a number will not retire you. It won't. I mean, you're going to at least need $30,000 a year to cover your fixed minimum expenses. And $150,000, that gives you what? That gives you 5 years worth of income before your money's out. So let's not have a conversation about the lump sum, and let's figure out how much income we can provide you for the rest of your life. And then I start asking questions. These are the questions that I ask. Have you worked for the United States for the last 30 plus years and paid Social Security? Yes. Okay. If you've paid into Social Security for 20 plus years, 30 plus years, you're going to get about $1,400-1,500 a month in Social Security check. You know that. Okay. Do you have any pension plans with your existing employers or prior employers? Well, yeah, I got this other one, but it's only $600. Okay. So 1,400 plus your 600 is now $2,000 a month. So you know when you retire, you got $2,000 a month coming in to your household. Now let me ask you a question, Mr. Klein. When you finally pull the trigger and you retire, are you going to be debt free? Well, yeah, I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to have. Okay, perfect. So how much money do you think you really need to see come into the household on a monthly basis to cover your living? To give you a baseline, not an elaborate, Taj Mahal type of a retirement, but just a baseline number, a foundation. What's that number look like? Well, I probably only need like $2,500 a month. That's what most people tell me. $2,500 to $3,000 a month. I go, okay. So now think about this. We just found $2,000 a month of income. We found your Social Security at $1,400, $1,500. We found a small little pension for $500 that's coming. That's $2,000. You need $2,500, so we're just short what? $500 a month. So, Mr. Klein, if I could turn this $150,000 that you have in this 401k into a $500 a month income stream, that plus your Social Security plus your other pension, it turns into around $2,500 a month. Would that meet your needs? And would that make you feel good about knowing that in the next 2 years you can pull the trigger and retire and not have to go back to work, knowing that there'll always be $2,500 a month coming in? Would that make you feel good? What do you think most clients say? Yeah, that would. So now my job is to take that $150,000 and find an annuity that'll pay out about $500 a month for the rest of his life or her life, whatever it is. Because what I'm selling them is peace of mind. What I'm selling them is the guarantee that there will always be a paycheck coming in for $2,500 a month into their household, whether they're 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then the security in the same token of knowing that if they prematurely pass away, any money that they didn't use goes to their family. And if they live super long and they exhausted all of their money, they're still going to continue to receive that paycheck. I switch it to an income conversation. And that's how you gain a relationship on these annuities. That's how you make these sales. There's a question here. What's the minimum pay-in on IRA for the products we have to access? Also, can you talk about IRAs versus annuities? Okay, so yes. And I'm going to talk for about another 10 minutes or so. Okay, and I'll go over by like 5 minutes or so on training. So yes, the minimum that we have in our platform, it's $100 a month. Easy, $100 a month minimum, right? However, I'm going to tell you this. When you're looking for annuities, you're not looking for people to start putting in new money. You don't. I'll be honest with you. Someone tells me they want to put in new money and then they're in their 30s and 40s, I'm going to lean towards an IUL. Because the reality is, number one, I got to consider taxes, which means if I'm going to sell them into an IRA, it's going to be a Roth IRA. And then I have to look at the Roth IRA and go, okay, well, wait a minute. The Roth IRA might grow money on a tax-free basis and I can get into an index strategy, but do they have insurance to protect them right now while they're still raising their family? And the answer is no. Then maybe we might need to look into an IUL, right? I leverage annuities and more for people who have lump sum money, right? Like the client that I just acquired recently sold her home. She's in her late 50s. She made 100 grand out of it. She's looking to reinvest it somewhere, right? Caesar's client has old 401ks from old employers. Lamont's client that he just acquired was an inherited IRA. So the sister inherited the IRA from her sister who passed away. She had to reinvest it, right? So we're always, when it comes to annuities, I'm looking for lump sums. Now, that's the good last question you asked is a great question, right? Can you talk about IRAs versus annuities? The biggest thing people confuse themselves on is they think that each of them is two separate investments, and it's not. An IRA is a tax code. It's not the investment. An annuity is an investment. You're putting the money into annuity just like you're putting money into a stock, just like you're putting money into a bond. You know what I'm saying? The IRA tax code is just the code that affiliates how that money is looked at by Uncle Sam. Why do I say it that way? Because I can have an annuity become an IRA. It's called an IRA annuity. I can have a stock portfolio become an IRA. It's called an IRA brokerage account. I can put money into a CD at a bank and call it an IRA. It's called an IRA CD. So the IRA is just the tax code of how Uncle Sam views the money. Am I taking money taxes now? Am I taking taxes later? Is it qualified? Is it not qualified? The investment, however, is the vehicle that the money gets put into. A CD at the bank, a stock portfolio at a brokerage account, or an annuity with an insurance agent. Then I have to decide, how do I want it to be? How do I want it to be? So for example, the IRA, the annuity that I just put the client in from real estate, right? She had real estate proceeds, she put the money in there. That's a non-qualified annuity. That same company, however, we just sold another annuity to a client in Illinois with Caesar that came from a 401k. That became an IRA annuity, but it's the same product. Same product. So the first one that I did by myself is a non-qualified annuity because it's not an IRA. And then the second one that we just did was an IRA annuity because of the way the money is looked at by Uncle Sam's eyes. Does that make sense? A little bit, a little here, a little there. Okay. Okay. The biggest thing that could help you on this, and I think I just did a video on it, and I think I uploaded it, so I'll send it to you. IRA, 401k, people need to stop thinking of it as an actual investment. It's a tax code. It's a tax code. That's all that it is. Now you can apply that tax code to the investment. That's why I say, you go to the bank and open up a savings account and tell the guy, listen, I want the savings account, I'm putting IRA money in here. It officially becomes an IRA savings. Still the same savings account, but the tax code that's now affiliated to it means that the money that's in there is pre-taxed, therefore it's an IRA. Just like I can turn a CD into IRA money. All the IRA says is that the money in there happens to be pre-taxed. Hasn't been taxed yet, but it's still a CD earning money based on how that CD performs. A stock, right? I mean, some of you guys might have your own TD Ameritrade accounts and you're investing your own money, you know, but you can also have an IRA that invests into the same exact stocks. So it's the same stocks, but this one is post-tax money going in, therefore it's not an IRA. This one is pre-tax money going, therefore it is an IRA. That's an IRA brokerage account with stocks. Same thing with annuities. So, and I can dig deeper into that in another training because that can get confusing. But the biggest thing I just want you to understand is an annuity can be an IRA annuity. It could be a non-qualified annuity. It could be a Roth IRA annuity. It could be a SEP IRA annuity. It could be a 401k annuity. That initial, code, IRA, 401, 403b, Roth, all that is a tax code as to how Uncle Sam is going to treat the money that's in there. The investment itself is the annuity. Okay, so listen, as I finish off, here's the biggest thing that I like to ask. And actually, for the people that are watching, let me pause the video here.